Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I am on a wet path. This video keeps on getting delayed, things keep on happening. But you know what, we're going to try it anyway. Today we're going to be talking about how I use different objects to get around in the wheelchair. Now this is a video that I've been wanting to do for ages. It's been one that I've had planned for about a week, just over a week. Right. Using objects to get around. Why would you do it? Why would you either hold on to something? Why would you hold on to something and pull yourself along, or bump into it, or hold on to it to turn yourself? Well, there's actually quite a few good points to using objects for wheelchairs. There's quite a few benefits. I'm going to run through the benefits, run through how to do each maneuver, and then give a demonstration of each one as we go through. So that's going to be the plan for this video. So, why would you use an object over just using your wheelchair as it's intended? You can do... First off, it's fun. I will admit that. It's kind of like parkour in a way that you're constantly scanning your environment, you're keeping your brain active, you're finding new ways of using objects. Second off, most of the time it's more efficient than just using your chair. I know that sounds kind of silly, but you'll see what I mean as we get to each thing. For example, rather than using both arms to turn like this, all you do is use one arm and hold on to an object, and that's it. That is all you do. There is obviously a bit more that goes into it, but I will get to that as we go through. Turning is one of the few things that I have been taught to train people to use objects for in a wheelchair. Mainly just because it's a good way of one-handed turning. You can do it two-handed using an object, but it's less efficient than just one hand. So what do you do for it? Like, what are you doing to be able to turn with a wheelchair? So what you do is you come up to an object that you would want to turn with. I'm going to quickly see if I can set up the tripod in a bit of a different way. Hang on. When coming up to an object that you want to use, you will find a bit of space between it, usually with the wheel, because if you're too close, when you turn, you're just going to crash into it. So get a bit of space. I find you can have a bit of flex in the arm. You can have a slight bend. I don't know how you guys can see that. What you'll do is you'll come alongside the object, hold on to it, and then it will just turn you. It is as simple as that. All you do is just touch onto the object. You don't even have to hold on to it. I'll do it again. All you do is just touch the object. Now, just something to keep in mind is that you do need to keep a bit of a stronger arm. If you hold on to it and then your arm bends, that's not going to be good. So what I'd suggest is making sure that you can lock your arm out. Now, this should stop you going just in a completely other direction. If I keep a loose arm when I do it, you see how it kind of whipped me. Now, that is sometimes good. You sometimes do want to be able to just kind of bend your arm out and pull it back in, and you can do some pretty interesting things with that. It's not for everyone, to be honest. I don't really like doing it. I prefer being able to, if I'm going to whip myself, I'll do something that I'll show you later. So another thing that you can do is pull yourself along with an object. Now, I know I'm on a bit of a hill at the moment, so it may not be the best, but what you can do is grab onto an object, completely standing still, and just pull yourself off of it, and it will just kind of whip you forwards. Now, this is good if you are, pushing along. It's good if you're pushing along, maybe your arm's getting a bit tired, you can just give yourself a bit of a pull every now and then. You can do this by also bouncing off of objects. It's a little bit harder to do, and again, it leads into more of a crashing thing, which I'll show you later. But basically, what you'll do is you'll come up to an object, right? Coming up like that, and then you make sure you put your arms out to brace yourself, and then push off. So you end up kind of going in that kind of path. So you come in, bounce off, and like a V shape. And I'll try to show you with this. It's a little bit awkward with the post. It's better off with like brick walls and things, because you can also like angle yourself back in. But yeah, I'll try and show you now. So you can kind of see how quickly I picked up speed by doing that. Because when you're pushing your wheelchair, you're using your triceps, you're pushing like this, but whenever you're pulling on an object, you're using the reverse muscles. You're not doing this, you're doing this, like pulling open a door. Now, it's kind of best to do it with these kinds of things, where you're holding on to it, pulling yourself off, and continuing through. You can do it with walls, as I said, where you just kind of push yourself off of them, just depending on your skill. Sorry, I can't show you that either. But now let's go into stopping with an object, which is basically just fancy crashing without any brakes. Now, a couple of safety things. Make sure that you've got good arm muscles. Make sure that you're okay taking an impact. Also, while you're doing it, I'll just run you through it. You're gonna go towards the object, as you normally would. Slow down a little bit. Make sure you're not going like all out speed. You kind of get a gauge of how fast you can go when you're going into an object. You can kind of gauge on if it's going to hurt or not, and if you should or shouldn't do it. So if you're going to do it, make sure that you're going at a sensible speed. You're not wanting to bomb it down, but you'll put your hands out before you get to the object as far as you can. Lean forwards a little bit, and then the moment your hands touch that wall, you're going to start to bring them in, keeping contact with the wall. And then as you touch the wall, like as your elbows bend, you're also going to let yourself be brought back up. So it's from this to that. Now, obviously, depending on how fast you are going, you may crash into the wall. But if you can do it from that to that, then you shouldn't be able to. Stop just before your feet and foot plates get in contact with the wall. I wouldn't recommend doing it without a lot of practice. Make sure you're doing it safely. Obviously, if you are going to be going into a wall, it's probably not going to be the main thing that you're thinking about. So definitely just make sure that you're bracing for impact. When you go in, you're just kind of stopping yourself. You can also use it to like slow yourself down if you use an object that's similar to the post that the phone is now propped up on. But yeah, if you do the same thing with one arm this time, if you can do two, put two out. Another thing, if you're going to be doing the wall bounce, or the wall slow down, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, one thing that I like to do is kind of cross my hands over. Doesn't do anything, it just adds a bit more stability when bringing the arms in. I usually just do it like this, but bringing them in like that does add that bit of extra security. But you will definitely need that if you're going to be doing it against one wall. I mean, you can try and do it with one, but obviously it does mean more risk of injuring yourself. So what you'll do is, as you're coming up to an object, you'll kind of put your hand out, probably with your fingers this time, because you're just trying to decelerate yourself slightly. Put your fingers out, and then just kind of bring it in, so it's like that. Like a reverse high five. I'm going to try and show you all of these now, but I don't know how well it's going to go, obviously. But yeah, let's get into it. So there you saw, I used one arm and just kind of took the impact as I went past the object. Now, you can tell if that was a wall, it would have been slightly different because my wheels like went slightly past it. But if it was a wall also, it wouldn't have caused that much damage because I slowed down a fair amount by then. But it is definitely something to keep in mind. I wouldn't recommend doing it. The other two though, pulling yourself off of an object and like bouncing off of objects, I would recommend. It's good fun. It's a good way of like sneakily letting your muscles relax, as well as just kind of letting your self have fun. You know, I think it's just a fun way of getting around. So I just think it's just kind of a fun way of getting around. Honestly, being able to just grab onto an object and pull yourself, it relaxes the muscles. It, you know, gives you a bit more of a variety to the way you push in rather than just the same old pushing. Now, if you bring everything together where you're whipping yourself off an object and then pulling yourself off of it at the same time, I do that with this post because I turn a corner, like this entire eye is like onto a corner road thing, like I can go left or right. So I'll come up to it, I will grab onto the post, pull myself, I'll let myself turn to the direction and then pull myself in, and it's just a good way of getting around. You know, it's not something that many people talk about or do, but obviously it's there. So that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all of that usual stuff. Obviously you don't have to, but yeah, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and bye.